Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about pain and how we perceive pain. Now, some people will be really quick to say that pain is bad and that we don't want pain, they wish that we didn't have pain, stuff like that. But in actuality, pain is very important for us. Pain gives us warnings about different things that we're doing, dangers and stuff like that, tells us to stop doing certain behaviors that we might be doing that is harmful to our bodies. You think about it, you ever grab something that's hot or anything like that. I know for me, I work in a restaurant, and there's been plenty of times where I didn't know that a pan or something was hot and somebody asked me to move it. I grab it, immediately realize that that pan's hot, you drop it, and yeah, I'm still going to have a little burn, but that burn's going to heal fairly quickly, a couple days, rather than if I didn't know that that pan was hot and my brain didn't tell me that, I would have just grabbed it, went wherever that I was supposed to take it, and then by that time it would have been a severe burn, taking much longer to heal, maybe would have more longer lasting different effects. So now there's different stimuli that give us pain. Those different stimuli can be mechanical, they can be thermal, electrical, or chemical, or even visceral. And visceral is when it's going to be more of an internal bodily stimuli that is painful. So now that we know how do we understand pain, how do we perceive that pain? So we have two different fibers that are at play here. We have the nociceptive fibers that are pain-sensitive fibers, and then we also have non-nociceptive fibers. And these are fibers that do not transmit pain signals. Now, the two main nociceptive fibers that I'm going to be talking about are A delta fibers and then also C fibers. Now, A delta fibers, these are myelinated, which means that they're going to be a lot faster, and they are more associated with like a sharp or intense pain. And the C fibers are unmyelinated, and that means that they're slower getting up to the brain. And these are associated with like long-term throbbing pain that people can experience. So these are the two nociceptors that are responsible for the different pain that we feel. Now, the basic understanding of pain is that these fibers send messages through the peripheral nervous system into the spinal cord and up to the brain. But the gate control theory suggests something a little different. Although they still flow through the peripheral nervous system and into the spinal cord, they encounter like different gates, thus the name, the gate control theory, in the spinal cord that open or close depending on the messages that it receives. Now, I also need to talk here about the non-nociceptive A beta fibers. Now, these do not transmit pain stimuli, but rather transmit stimuli such as touch, pressure, or vibration. Now, there are sites on the spinal cord that receive info from both the A delta and C fibers as well as the A beta fibers. And on these sites, there are inhibitory interneurons and projection neurons. And this is where the real basis of the gate control theory comes into play. So let me try to explain this a little more. Both the nociceptive fibers and the non-nociceptive fibers act on a projection neuron that wants to send the signal to the brain. And they also act on the inhibitory interneuron, which wants to block that projection neuron from sending that signal to the brain whenever it gets activated or excited. So when we feel pain, the nociceptive fibers activate the projection neurons and block the inhibitory neuron from firing, which thus allows the projection neuron to send that pain signal up to the brain, and thus we feel the pain, or the gate is open. Now, when it's the A beta fiber is involved, it will excite the inhibitory neuron as well, and that will block the projection neuron from firing, and thus we will have less or no pain and feel more of the pressure and the vibrations or touch that the A beta fibers are sending. So a great way to see that this theory working out in your everyday life is if you think back to when you were a little kid and you might have like bumped your head or your elbow or something. The first thing your mom probably told you to do was to rub it, that it would make it feel better. Now you did this, but you didn't really understand why, and now you do. Like I said, those A beta fibers, they're full of all the touch and the pressure and vibrations. They're sending those and flooding the gates with those fibers instead of the nociceptive fibers, which are the pain. And thus you feel more of those instead of the pain fibers, which, I mean, it's not always going to make it to where you don't feel any pain at all, but it can always help and make it feel less. I know I still do this today. If I bump my head on something, I'm going to start rubbing my head, and somehow it makes it feel better. Alright, so to further illustrate the gate control theory of pain, have a little drawing here that should help explain things a little better. So we have the A beta fiber here, which is the non-nociceptive fiber, and we have a C fiber right here, which is the nociceptive fiber. Now notice the A beta fiber is myelinated, which is all these little boxes right here supposed to represent, and that makes it go a little faster, like I said earlier. Now we also have the inhibitory interneuron right here that likes to act on the projection neuron right here, which then sends signals farther up the spinal cord and into the brain. So now, if we just have the C fiber working now, it's going to go up and it's going to act on this inhibitory neuron and the projection neuron. It's going to make the projection neuron fire, so it's going to send the signal out. And then it's also going to act on the inhibitory neuron and make that not send a signal to the projection neuron, which is then they would not be able to block it. But if we have the A beta fiber working as well, it's going to act on this inhibitory and interneuron and thus let it interact with the projection neuron and not let a signal proceed to go. So what we need to happen is we need to have more of these A beta fibers than the C fibers or the nociceptive fibers in order for this to act onto the projection neuron and then not have a activity get sent further up and into the brain. So this is why whenever you hurt yourself or anything like that, you rub your elbow or you rub your head, because this is going to increase the A beta fibers that are going through, and it's going to outnumber the nociceptive fibers working on this inhibitory, and it's going to allow the inhibitory to block the projection neuron from sending those pain signals up, and then thus you'll feel less pain or sometimes even no pain. So there you have it. You guys should understand the gate control theory of pain a little bit more now, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and please ask me any questions that you can, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you guys.